Dear learners, welcome to today's session. So it is BSOC 101, the second class today. So I request to all of you to kindly put your mic in the mute mode. ସମସ୍ତେ ନିଜ ନିଜର ମାଇକ୍ କୁ ମ୍ୟୁଟ୍ ମୋଡ୍ କରନ୍ତୁ ଯାହାର ଯାହା କ୍ୱେଶ୍ଚିନ୍ ପଚାରିବାର ଥିବ you can unmute your mic and you ask the question to ma'am. So I welcome to our counselor Dr. Sucharita Mishra. Lord, I am really thankful to ma'am. I mean, out of her busy schedule, she has given a time to Indira Gandhi National Open University. Definitely, I hope all students are enjoying ma'am's class. I mean, really, she is teaching very well. And now, due to this corona, I mean, it's a very critical juncture. You all are stuck down in the home. It's very difficult to go out. Now, it's corona is spreading like anything. So, I request all of you. I mean, it's really you have to take care of health. So, stay safe, stay home, and stay healthy. I mean, no doubt. I mean, you are the newcomer of this Indira Gandhi National Open University. I mean, IGNOU, now it is not possible to start our, I mean, classes in face-to-face mode. So, what I feel, I mean, to bridge the gap between the, I mean, learners and counselor and between the, I mean, study center or, I mean, RC Bhubaneswar. So, you plan on this, I mean, platform. So, I feel definitely it is a useful to all the learners. So I don't want to take much time. So with these words, I again welcome to ma'am. So I hand over the session to Dr. Sucharita ma'am. Please, student, put your mic in the mute mode. Otherwise, disturbance will come. Neither nobody can listen. Okay, ma'am. Go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. A very good evening to all the learners. So, in our today, our discussion is going to be held on
Puplo,
Unit 3, Unit 4, and Unit 5.
Puplo.
In Unit 3, we will discuss the relationship of sociology with anthropology. So, we'll generally discuss in our today's session regarding the
अरे
relationship
Puplo.
of sociology with the other social sciences. Sociology ର relationship ଅଲଗା social sciences ବା ଅଲଗା subject ସହିତ କୋଉ ହିସାବରେ ରହିଛି ତାକୁ ହିଁ ଆମେ ଆଜି discuss କରିବା. So relationship ର first unit 3 which is concerned about the relationship of sociology with anthropology. Here we will discuss on nature of sociology and social anthropology as well as emergence and history of sociology and also emergence and history of anthropology and also similarities and differences between sociology and anthropology. So let us begin first sociology and social anthropology. In our previous class, we have already discussed many things regarding the emergence of social
Puplo.
anthropology as well as sociology. But in our today's session, we will also have some glimpse of ideas regarding the sociology, history and background and sociology, social anthropological backgrounds. So we generally knows that sociology and social anthropology are closely related in many aspects. Sometimes it is rather difficult to differentiate sociology from social anthropology in some areas of inquiry and methodology. ଆମେ ଯେହେତୁ ଜାଣିଛୁ ଯେ sociology ଆଉ anthropology ଦିଟା ଯାକ closely related subject, but still it is quite difficult to differentiate ଦିଟା ଜିନିଷକୁ differentiate କରିବା sociology from anthropology in some areas of inquiry and methodology. There are also certain differences that can also be observed between the two subjects in terms of areas and thrust of inquiry, like methodology, practice, as well as its traditions. So such differences, ଆମେ जो differences गुड़ा वर्तमान analysis କରିବା ବିଭିନ୍ନ sociologist, ବିଭିନ୍ନ social anthropologist तापरे हमको किछि आइडियाज देइचंती तापरे किछि रिसर्च करिके कहिचंती जहाको हम एठी वर्तमान हमर यूनिट रे डिस्कस करिबा. So social anthropologists are sociologists as well. जदियो social anthropologist माननकु आमे they are not only concerned as an anthropologist, they are also considered as sociologists, but they are at once something less because their actual field of investigation has on the whole total whole aspect को study of करवाटा तांकर main research, which is been more restricted and something more, because although they are concerned with social relationships, they are concerned with other aspects of culture as well. माने सेमाने अलगा रिलेशनशिप सहित सोशल रिलेशनशिप सहित कंसर्न हबा माने सहित हमकु सो कल्चर उपरे भी किछि सोशल कल्चर उपरे भी एस्पेक्ट्स डिफरेंट एस्पेक्ट्स ऑफ कल्चर उपरे भी हमकु किछि आइडियाज हमें एंथ्रोपोलॉजिकल स्टडीज रो देखिबा पई मिलि थाए. So apart from that, let us have a idea on nature of sociology and social anthropology. Generally, sociology is the youngest social science. It is also one of the fastest growing academic discipline. Sociology होची सबुठु youngest social science बोली हमें ताकु जानिचु, and it is also the fastest growing, जब भी गोटे youngest science किंतु तार growing academic discipline रे it is very fast. The word sociology is derived from the Latin word socius. Sociology words टा को words रो आसी प्रथमे हमें ताकु डिस्कस करिबा. Sociology दीटा word रो आसी, that is Latin word socius and Greek word logos. Socius means companion or logos means हमें जानुचु study of or science of. So sociology माने हमें एठी काहा को कहूछु, the sociology was generally denoted as a study or science of society or study or science of companionship. So ethi the term sociology was coined by who is the father of sociology जदि हमें जानिबा. Sociology was first coined by Auguste Comte, founding he is generally considered as a father of sociology, named as Auguste Comte in the year 1839. Sociology is a scientific study of human society which tries to explain the contexts of social phenomena. It emphasizes on the collective aspects of human behavior. ता सहित एटा काहा को emphasize करे, it emphasizes the collective aspects of human behavior. Human behavior को study up करिबा, human relationship को study up करिबा, interaction को study up करिबा, social action को study up करिबा. So it is a broad nature of subject has resulted, it emphasizes the collective aspect of human behavior. हमें जे देखिबा sociology generally emphasized on the collective aspect of human behavior. Also there are the other social sciences discipline जेमति कि anthropology हला, political science हला, economics हला, psychology हला, geography हला, education, law and philosophy. So there are various social sciences, but still sociology is concerned about the whole study of social phenomena, or which is a general subject, which is not a specialized branch. तामाने हमें को specialized subject कहूनु काहे कि ना हम पाखरे political science थिला to study about the political nature of the society. हम पाखरे economics थिला to study the wealth of the nation, wealth of the nation. ताकु हमको study up करिबा पई we have economics, we have education. So हम पाखरे specialized subject रो किछि अभाव नथिला, but still we need a subject which is focused on not only a special branch, it focused upon the general or universal study of the society. तापरे हमें देखुछु जे social and cultural anthropology has been historically very close to sociology from their beginnings, as they both study human society. दीटा जंक sociology हो but anthropology हो, they are very close काहे कि ना from their very beginning प्रथमरु हमें देखुछु they both study human society. दीटा जंक subject studies and concerned about what ना, they both concerned about the human society. So anthropology has been regarded as the study of pre-literate societies. Pre-literate societies, माने illiterate बजा को हमें कहूछु societies, ता ऊपर ही generalist primitive societies ताकू study up करे किए anthropology. And sociology as dealing with the more contemporary. Sociology काहा को deal करूची, contemporary, modern, urban and developed societies. Sociology study up करूची contemporary societies को, modern societies को, urban societies को, as well as developed societies. This distinction is no longer आमे जदि देखिबा ए जो डिस्टिंक्शन करा जायछि दीटा भितर इयरली एंथ्रोपोलॉजिस्ट माने आ सोशियोलॉजी भितर जो दीटा करा गला जे माने प्रिमिटिव को स्टडी अप करूछंती आ सोशियोलॉजी स्टडी अप करूछि कहा को कंटेम्पररी अर्बन और डेवलप्ड सोसाइटीज को दिस डिस्टिंक्शन इज नो लॉन्गर ट्रू tamane the earlier trend in anthropology being associated with micro studies. Earlier anthropology is generally associated with micro studies and sociology being identified with the macro studies. Macro हमको बुझियो पड़िबो हमें एथे micro studies कहिले when we have a particular और जदि हमें देखिबा गोटे जिंस को हमें छोट जिनिस को स्टडी अप करबा पई जाउछु बा गोटे स्मॉल एरिया ऊपर फोकस करूछु दैट स्टडी इज कंसर्न्ड एज अ माइक्रो एनालिसिस मैक्रो हमें केते बेले कहूछु जेते बेले हमें गोटे वास्ट एरिया को नउछु बा गोटे माने जो एरिया रा स्टडीज ता गोटे जनरल होल कांसेप्ट को हमको स्टडी अप करबा पई पडुची होल प्रॉब्लम ता को एनालिसिस करबा पई पडुची पर्टिकुलरली एटा को हमें मैक्रो स्टडीज रे नउछु सोशियोलॉजी को which is no longer true in the contemporary times किंतु contemporary times रे ए जो जिंस गुडा earlier times रे हम पाखरे देखा जायतिला it is no longer true तार किछि सत्यता माने नाही बोली कि कहा जाउछि काहे कि ना in the same way the study of the rural communities once identified mainly with anthropologists in the initial stage of the development and development of the disciplines has also become blurred. Today आमे जदि modern concept रे देखिबा बा contemporary period रे देखिबा today the trend has set in where sociologists have carried out much studies on rural communities, villages and micro settings. Sociology also focused upon the studies of rural communities, also focused on village studies and also analyzed the micro settings, while anthropologists have also ventured on urban setting and macro studies. जदि सोशियोलॉजी भी माइक्रो स्टडीज को फोकस करूची रूरल एरियाज को भी स्टडी अप करूची विलेज कम्युनिटीज को भी स्टडी अप करूची अनडाउटली एंथ्रोपोलॉजी आल्सो फोकस्ड अपॉन द urban settings macro studies आपरे भी एंथ्रोपोलॉजी रो किछि एनालिसिस गुडा वर्तमान कंटेम्पररी पीरियड रे देखिबा पाई मिलुची. So there are ample examples of this emerging trend which is most obvious in the studies carried out by both sociologists and anthropologists in the developing countries. So there has been much overlapping in the areas of inquiry and interest between sociologists and anthropology, particularly social anthropology and cultural anthropology. तापरे एबे हमें देखिबा जे emergence of and history of sociology. Let us have a look on emergence and history of sociology. In our previous class we have discussed little bit regarding the emergence of sociology. So let us have a further outlook or further analysis of this emergence or history. Sociology as a scientific study of society has a relatively short history of development. देखो पहले हमें प्रथम रु कहलो सोशियोलॉजी होची गोटे youngest social science. जदि एटा गोटे youngest social science undoubtedly तार हिस्ट्री टा बहुत शॉर्ट पीरियड थिबो हो कि नहीं. So it emerged only in the early 19th century. प्रथमे एटा early 19th century रे as an academic discipline sociology has emerged. The study of society, although not specific to sociology, was for long of interest to the Greek philosophers such as Socrates as early as 5th century BC, Plato and Aristotle in the 4th century BC. There are immense contributions to the understanding of society through these pioneers, Greek philosophers, Aristotle huantu, Plato huantu. So tankara ideas, ideologies, emergence of sociology by history of sociology by 19th century re bahut matra re takara contributions to the field of sociology is immense. So they attempted a systematic study of human society. ସେମାନେ କଣ ଚାହିଥିଲେ? They attempt a systematic study of human society, particularly on the general consideration of society, philosophy, politics, law and state. এই ସବୁ ଜିନିଷ ଗୁଡାର ଗୋଟେ systematic study କରିବା ପାଇଁ ପ୍ରଥମେ ସେମାନେ ଆରମ୍ଭ କରିଥିଲେ. So by the 16th century AD, the works of Thomas Hobbes on society and state have been impactful to the understanding of the concept of society and state. By 18th century AD, after the experience and influence of the Renaissance in Europe, there were many eminent philosophers who made immense contributions to the understanding of society. तामाने फेज बाय फेज आमे देखुछु केमिति कंट्रीब्यूशंस विभिन्न फिलोसोफर्स मानकर एठी आमे सोशियोलॉजी रो डेवलपमेंट पाई के आमे देखिबा पाई पाइलु इंक्लूडिंग रूसो हुंतु विको हुंतु मॉन्टेस्क्यू हुंतु who dealt with the social phenomena of those times सेही समयर सामाजिक घटनावली को नेकी से माने तांकर स्टडी करिथिले. The earlier works certainly laid the philosophical foundation for the development of the social science and the science of human society, including sociology and anthropology. So, the application of positivism to the study of human society transformed the conceptualization of society from a divine or God given condition to one that could be viewed as a product of human agency. So this made the objectification of society possible and also introduced the notion of social transformation through human effort and action. अच्छा ता सहित आउ किछि हमर सोशियोलॉजी रे डेवलपमेंट बा इमर्जेंस बा हिस्ट्री आमे आउ किछि जिंस 19th सेंचुरी रे कोन हैला ताकू भी हमें देखिबा. द मोस्ट सिग्निफिकेंट फैक्टर्स फॉर द इमर्जेंस ऑफ सोशियोलॉजी इज हाउएवर attributed to the various intellectual and socio-political changes. Intellectual और socio-political changes देखा जाइथिला taking place in the 18th and 19th centuries in Europe. So some of the important influences include the French Revolution hitila and Industrial Revolution. French Revolution और Industrial Revolution already हमें काली किछि डिस्कस करिछु ता विषय रे. Industrial Revolution in Europe, although सेमानक भितरु Saint Simon used the idea the science of society, it was Auguste Comte, the French philosopher, who is generally credited for laying the foundation of the emergence of sociology. So Auguste Comte, French philosopher, during the 1798 to 1857 भितरे तांकर लाइफ स्पान और से समय से डेवलप्ड करिथिले and he was credited as a father of sociology or the foundation of the emergence of sociology. The term sociology is coined in 1839 by Auguste Comte in his famous book Positive Philosophy. Positive Philosophy book ru prathama sociology word tankara coin karithile Auguste Comte, and he considers sociology as a science based on systematic observation and classification of social phenomena. Sociology kaha ko base karuchi? It is based on systematic observation as well as classification of social phenomena. Then apart from Auguste Comte को छाड़िले भी हमें Herbert Spencer, who was an English social philosopher, is one of the pioneer who laid the foundation of sociology. Sociology रो foundation Herbert Spencer कर अवदान भी तांकर contribution किछि रहिछि. His famous book Principles of Sociology based on organic analogy of human society, which was an important contribution of those times. तो सेतेबेलर समय स्पेंसर कर contribution भी बहुत important contribution रहिछि तांकर famous book Principles of Sociology in and also L.F. Ward made a significant contribution to the development of sociology through his work through his book Dynamic Sociology, which engages with the concept of social progress and social action. But the most significant contribution of the development of sociology using scientific methodology was made by Emile Durkheim. The scientific methodology of next analysis kale kiye na Emile Durkheim in his famous work The Rules of Sociological Method and the Theory of Suicide. And also Max Weber, one of the important one of the pioneers of sociology, introduced a new kind of approach to the understanding of social phenomena. His well-known work include the Protestant ethics and spirit of capitalism, as well as economy and society. um, my dear learners, you will again read the whenever this is the beginning of your class, tomorrow eta prathama paper. So ଏଠି ଆମେ ଖାଲି emergence ରୁ history ରୁ ଆମେ ଜାଣୁଛୁ ଯେ କୋଉ ମାନଙ୍କର contributions ରହିଛି, କୋଉ ମାନେ develop କରିଛନ୍ତି sociology କୁ, କୋଉ year ରେ sociology ଆସିଲା, ତ କୋଉ ମାନେ founding fathers ରହିଛନ୍ତି। ଆମେ ଏବେ ଏଇ ସବୁ ଜିନିଷକୁ ଜାଣିଲା ପରେ ଏଗେନ୍ ଯେତେବେଳେ ତମେ ଆଗକୁ ତମର ସେମିଷ୍ଟାର ଦେଖିବ, ସେ ସେମିଷ୍ଟାରରେ ଏଗେନ୍ ତମେ ଏଇ ଥିଙ୍କର୍ସ ମାନଙ୍କର ଇନ୍ ଡିଟେଲ ସବୁ ଥିଓରି ଗୁଡା ଆନାଲିସିସ୍ କରାଯିବ ଆଉ ସବୁ ଥିଓରିକୁ ତମେ ପଢିବ ସେଠି ଆଗକୁ, ବୁଝୁଛି। ସୋ ଏଠି ଖାଲି ଆମେ ଜାଣିବା ପାଇଁ ଆମେ ଜାଣୁଛୁ ଯେ ସୋସିଓଲୋଜିଟା କେମିତି ଡେଭଲପ ହେଇଥିଲା ଆଉ କୋଉମାନଙ୍କ କଣ୍ଟ୍ରିବ୍ୟୁସନ୍ସ ଦ୍ୱାରା ସୋସିଓଲୋଜିର ମାନେ ହିଷ୍ଟ୍ରିଟା ଆମେ ଏଠି ଆନାଲିସିସ୍ କରୁଛୁ। So Max Weber pare Karl Marx also made a significant contribution to the development of sociology. Although his contributions go much beyond sociology itself, his most popular work related to Das Kapital. तमे Karl Marx करो गुटे एटा भी जानी थिबो, मे बी सुनी थिबो Das Kapital. Some of the other pioneers include George Herbert Mead, Wilfredo Pareto, George Simmel, Ferdinand Tönnies, ଏମାନଙ୍କର ବି contributions ତାପରେ ସବୁ sociology ର development ପାଇଁ ରହିଲା। And if I talk about the modern sociologist, ଯଦି ମୁଁ modern sociologist ମାନଙ୍କ କଥା କହିବି, ତାଙ୍କ ଭିତରୁ ଅଛନ୍ତି ଚାର୍ଲ୍ସ ହଟନ କୁଲେ, C.H. କୁଲେ, P.A. ସରୋକିନ, C.W. ମିଲ୍ସ, Talcott Parsons, R.K. Morton, Irving Goffman, George C. Homans, Michael Foucault, Georgian Habermas, Peter Bourdieu, and Anthony Giddens. So they are these those are the pioneers of modern sociology. ସେମାନେ modern sociology ର development ପାଇଁ ତାଙ୍କ contribution ବି in future ତମେ ଆଗକୁ ଯାଇକି ଏମାନଙ୍କ ଉପରେ ପଢିବ। So ଏଇଟା ଯେତେ ଆମେ ଯେତେବେଳେ emergence ବା history ର little bit ideas related to sociology ର emergence ଆଉ history ଉପରେ ଆମେ ଜାଣିଲା ପରେ, let us have a look on emergence and history of anthropology. Anthropology ର history କଣ ଆଉ emergence କଣ, ଆମେ ଟିକେ ତାକୁ ବି look over କରିବା। ଯେହେତୁ ଆମେ ଏଠି relationship କଥା ପଢୁଛୁ sociology ଆଉ anthropology ର। So anthropology is a diverse or comprehensive field that studies humans and their culture society. In fact, it is considered as a broadest discipline. Kali ame janithilu, it is considered as a complex discipline that deals with the study of humankind and its multiple aspects. The subject matter of anthropology and its academic profession began as an intersection of natural science and humanities. So this trend is largely followed even today. ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ବି ଏଇ trend ଟା ଚାଲୁ ରହିଛି। So the main reason behind this position is that the subject has been considered as a holistic study of mankind. So anthropology is generally considered as a holistic study of mankind. It also emerged with the understanding that the humans as a species are evolved and follow the same natural laws as all other natural species and phenomena. ଯେମିତି ଅଲଗା ନ୍ୟାଚୁରାଲ ସ୍ପେସିସ୍ ଆଉ ଘଟଣା ବଳି ଉପରେ ଆମେ ଅନୁଧ୍ୟାନ କରୁ, ସେମିତି ଏଠି ହ୍ୟୁମାନ ବିଙ୍ଗଙ୍କର ବି ଆମେ କିଛି ପ୍ରୋବ୍ଲେମ୍ସ ବା ହ୍ୟୁମାନ ବିଙ୍ଗ ଉପରେ ବି ଅଣ୍ଡରଷ୍ଟାଣ୍ଡିଂ ଆଣିବା, ଆଇଡିଆ ଆଣିବା, ହ୍ୟୁମାନ ସୋସାଇଟି ଉପରେ ଷ୍ଟଡି ଅଫ୍ କରିବା। ଦ୍ୟାଟ୍ ଇଜ ଦ ମେନ୍ ମୋଟୋ ଅଫ୍ which subject, both sociology and anthropology. So in view of the highly differentiated subject matter of anthropology, it is rather difficult to comprehensively locate the strands of intellectual development and the emergence of the discipline. So nevertheless, the hallmark of the trends of the beginning and growth of the subject can be broadly situated. The historical delineation can be focused on socio-cultural anthropology, as it is the closest branch of anthropology with sociology. So sociology ର କୋଉଟା closest branch anthropology ସହିତ ନା socio cultural anthropology. So like sociology, the emergence and development of anthropology is said to be directly linked to the scientific development in the western world. Scientific development kaha सହିତ western world ର scientific development कथा भी एठी हमें देखुଛୁ। तापरे आमे गोटे आउ गोटे जिंस एठी काहाको कहा जाउची ना द ग्रीक फिलोसोफर्स ऑफ दैट टाइम। ग्रीक फिलोसोफर्स तमर के ग्रीक फिलोसोफर्स particularly Socrates, Plato, Aristotle also influenced on the study of man and society। ସେମାନେ भी man and society ଉପରେ बहुत study up କରିଛନ୍ତି। later the Roman philosophers Cicero also significantly contributed to the understanding of human society. After a gap of several centuries, some philosophers began to take the interest in the study of society and the state, particularly in the 16th century AD. So some of these scholars include Thomas Hobbes, Machiavelli, आंको कथा भी काली हमें डिस्कस करिथिलु, and also the significant contributions of Ibn Khaldun. They are on the moral historical philosophy and structural functional analysis of social phenomena. They are the exponents of these studies. By the 18th century AD, after the experience and influence of the Renaissance in Europe, there were many eminent philosophers who have made immense contributions to the understanding of society, including Rousseau, Baron de Montesquieu, John Locke, who dealt with the social phenomena of that time. So the development of anthropology and social science, which makes a departure to the earlier philosophical and historical studies, came in two phases. Dita phase kali ame mane paka padithilu। First phase of development, which included in between 1725 to 1840. So the first phase, philosopher scientists succeeded in separating the study of man, society and civilization from history, and thereby formulated a general social science. However, Webel in 1958 is of the view that anthropology stems primarily from natural science and carries a greater measure of the natural science tradition and not from the history or philosophy. So on the other hand, it opines that anthropology began as the science of history. So the problem of its earlier association and the nature of anthropology are Ivan Pritchard, even in the mid 20th century, had a grapple with the situation in British anthropology. So this is the all about we can say the history of anthropology, which is developed by phase, first phase, and in second phase we can analyze in between the period of 1840 to 1890. There was the transition in the natural sciences from a static equilibrium model to a dynamic model. एठी कौन रो डेवलप करा गला ना गोटे static model रो dynamic model को societal change को एठी focus करा जाउची second phase रे. It's generally with such a diverse field that as anthropology, which an attempt was made in the 1860s for integrating into a general anthropological discipline that would engage on the early history of man. So this period marks as the emergence of anthropology into an academic discipline. So second phase is generally considered as an academic discipline re anthropology ro development ko ethi mark kara jauchi. And it is through the inspiration of the scientific method in the physical and organic domain, 19th century anthropologists believed that socio-cultural phenomena were discoverable lawful principles. So the conviction joined their interest with the aspiration of a still earlier period. Jodi hame dekhiba, that period is generally considered as the enlightenment and vision of a universal history of mankind. So modern discourse of anthropology crystallized in the 1860s, which was fired by the advances in biology, philosophy, prehistoric archaeology, etc. So the division of anthropology into distinct sub disciplines, dita disciplines re division kara jauchi, gote hochi physical or biological anthropology and another one is archaeological anthropology, ଯାହାକୁ ଆମେ କହିବ or and it is also called as socio-cultural anthropology and also linguistic anthropology, which would still include psychological anthropology, came about in the latter part of the 19th century re psychological anthropology be develop kala. Of these branches of anthropology, social or cultural anthropology has been the closest branch of anthropology to sociology. So sociology ର closest branch କୋଉ ଗୁଡା ରହିଲା? Socio cultural anthropology. Socio cultural anthropology part ଟାକୁ close relationship କାହା ସହିତ ରହିଲା? Sociology ସହିତ. So apart from these, there are also some more exponents of anthropological studies like Henry Morgan, John Ferguson, McLennan, Sir Edward Taylor, Franz Boas, James Fraser, W.H.R. Rivers. They are the exponents of anthropological studies. And apart, particularly, they are also evolved with the socio-cultural anthropology. Then Malinowski, Radcliffe Brown, and Malinowski's famous books, the Agronauts of the Western Pacific, and Radcliffe Brown's Andaman Islanders were the earliest significant modern works which obviously mark the emergence of new modern phase of anthropology. These works were primarily based on rigorous fieldwork. So anthropological studies is generally based on the rigorous fieldwork with theoretical orientations. So the influence of these works of these two anthropologists spread beyond Britain, even to the extent of reaching North America, a region which was generally considered as a domain of cultural anthropology. So ଏଠି ଆମେ ଯେମିତି ଆମେ ହିଷ୍ଟ୍ରି ସୋସିଓଲୋଜିର ହିଷ୍ଟ୍ରିର ଡେଭଲପମେଣ୍ଟ ବା ଆମେ ସୋସିଓଲୋଜିକାଲ ଡେଭଲପମେଣ୍ଟର ଏମର୍ଜେନ୍ସ ସୋସିଓଲୋଜିରେ ଦେଖିଲୁ ଇନ୍ ଦ ସିମିଲାର ୱେ ଆନ୍ଥ୍ରୋପୋଲୋଜିର ବି ଏମର୍ଜେନ୍ସ ଆଉ ଡେଭଲପମେଣ୍ଟଟାକୁ ଏଠି ଆମେ ଫାଇଣ୍ଡ ଆଉଟ୍ କରୁଛୁ। ତାପରେ again we will focus on similarities between sociology and anthropology. Sociology ଆଉ anthropologyର similarities ଗୁଡା ଆମେ ଏଠି again discuss କରିବା. What are the similarities in between these two subjects? ଆମେ କହିଲୁ ନା ଏ subject ଭିତରେ similarities ଅଛି. So first ଦେଖିବା କୋଉ similarities ଗୁଡା ଦିଟା subjects ରେ ରହିଛି। So sociology is very close to socio-cultural anthropology. The relationship between the two is so close that in the contemporary times the differences has become very bleak. ଯେତେବେଳେ contemporary times ରେ ବି ଆମେ differences ଟାକୁ find out କରିବାଟା it becomes very bleak. And there are many eminent anthropologists who have opined the close relationship between sociology and anthropology. ଯେମିତି ଆମେ ଏମର୍ଜେନ୍ସ ର ଜିନିଷ ଗୁଡା ଦେଖିଲୁ ହିଷ୍ଟ୍ରି ଦେଖିଲୁ ସେମିତି ଆହୁରି ବହୁତ ଏମିନେଣ୍ଟ ଆନ୍ଥ୍ରୋପୋଲୋଜିଷ୍ଟ ଅଛନ୍ତି ଯୋଉମାନେ କି କ୍ଲୋଜ ରିଲେସନସିପ ସୋସିଓଲୋଜି ଆଉ ଆନ୍ଥ୍ରୋପୋଲୋଜିର ବି ଫାଇଣ୍ଡ ଆଉଟ୍ କରିଛନ୍ତି। For instance, Fraser is perhaps the first anthropologist who in his inaugural lecture as the first professor of social anthropology କିଏ ହଉଛନ୍ତି? Fraser. So Fraser in anthropology in 1908 defined that social anthropology as that branch of sociology that deals with the primitive societies. अच्छा एठो हमें गोटिए से कहिले जे social anthropology as that branch of sociology. Sociology रो सेही branch को एटा study of करे social anthropology कोटा ना which is dealing with the primitive societies. Primitive means we can say the ଆମେ जो पढ़िलु प्री लिटरेट सोसाइटीज को स्टडी अप करे ट्राइबल सोसाइटीज को स्टडी अप करे सेही जिंसटार ब्रांच ऑफ सोशियोलॉजी होची कोटा ना सोशल एंथ्रोपोलॉजी। So Radcliffe Brown, sorry, according to Fraser, sociology should be viewed as the most general science of society. Sociology कौन ना it is viewed as the starting ରୁ कहले it is the most general science of society. Social anthropology would be a part of sociology. So social anthropology it would be a part of sociology, restricted to the origin or rather the rudimentary phases, the infancy and childhood of human society. So, by limiting social anthropology to a study of savage life, Fraser echoed the idea of Wedge and of Taylor in placing the anthropological emphasis on the early history and institutions of mankind. अच्छा तापर देखिबा अच्छा आमे एई जो फ्रेजरकर ये रो को जिंसटा को फाइंड आउट कलु ना फ्रेजर जनरली कहले सोशल एंथ्रोपोलॉजी इज दैट ब्रांच ऑफ सोशियोलॉजी व्हिच डील्स विथ द प्रिमिटिव सोसाइटीज से प्रिमिटिव सोसाइटीज गुडा जो ब्रांच गुडा स्टडी अप करी था that is more concerned with the or more closely associated with sociology. Then next, so it is a similarity in between sociology and social anthropology. Next, according to Radcliffe Brown, social anthropology is a comparative sociology. So Brown ko matare hochi social anthropology ta gote comparative sociology. How it is a comparative sociology? Now by the term comparative sociology, he would mean a science that applies the generalizing method to the natural sciences, to the phenomena of social life of man, and to everything that we include under the term culture and civilization. अच्छा comparative sociology टा सेति पई कहउचती काहे कि ना एटा गोटे साइंस जहा के अप्लाई करूची जनरलाइजिंग मेथड काहा को स्टडी अप करबा पई मेथड ऑफ टू स्टडी द फेनोमेनन ऑफ सोशल लाइफ सामाजिक जीवन बा घटनावली संपर्कित स्टडी अप करबा and everything we include under the term culture and civilization. सभ्यता और संस्कृति को स्टडी ऑफ करबा कल्चर और सिविलाइजेशन को स्टडी ऑफ करिबारे भी एटा गोटे जनरलाइजिंग मेथड. सो वी कैन से anthropology, social anthropology is a comparative sociology. So undoubtedly we find out there is a close link in between the sociology and social anthropology. So it is a method to demonstrate a particular phenomena or event to establish the general law. There are also many other anthropologists who can concur to his view. For instance, we can take Ivan Pritchard, who was another well-known anthropologist, considers social anthropology as a branch of sociological studies. That branch which chiefly devotes itself to primitive societies. The branch ta generally devotes kaha ko karuchi na primitive society ko study of karuchi. And he opines that when people speak of sociology, they generally have in mind studies of particular problems in civilized societies. If we give this sense to the word, that then the difference between social anthropology and sociology is a difference of field. So एठी हमें देखिलु को जिंस ना although anthropology which is including the although anthropology is said to have emerged earlier than sociology, जदियो anthropology टा आगो develop करा जायतिला sociology पूर्वरु. From the very beginning it was very difficult to differentiate between the subject matters of the two. किंतु एटा बहुत difficult दीटा subject भितर differentiate find out करिबा काहे कि ना particularly with the socio cultural anthropology. जदि हमें socio cultural anthropology कथा कहबा एटा को differentiate करिबाटा it's quite difficult. काहे कि ना हमें similarities जिंस अधिक find देखिलु researcher माने pioneers माने exponents माने social anthropologist माने they all concerned that these two subjects are very closely associated with themselves. Tapre Auguste Comte also considered that sociology would be the overarching study of human society, and therefore sociology should be the queen of all sciences. Auguste Comte ko opinion re se कहथिले sociology is generally considered as the queen of all sciences. Anthropology and sociology also founded with the significant element from the natural sciences in one way or another, although the subject matter of anthropology, particularly due to the components of physical anthropology and archaeological anthropology, which exceeds sociology in terms of linkage with the physical sciences. Even when the disciplines of sociology and socio-cultural anthropology were established, their relationship still existed. The relationship is mainly because of the similarity in the subject matter and methodology. ତାପରେ ଆମେ ଦେଖିବା the difference between sociology and anthropology is more on the application level rather than the level of scope, concept ଆଉ method. ଆମେ scope, concept ଆଉ method ରେ ଦିଟା subject quite close, କିନ୍ତୁ ଆମେ ଯେତେବେଳେ difference ଦେଖିବା ଖାଲି ତାର application level ରେ ବା applied field ରେ sociology ଆଉ anthropology ର ଦିଟାର ଆମେ differences ଟାକୁ find out କରିବା. So in fact, there had been many universities and colleges where sociology and social anthropology existed in the same department. एमती भी बहुत कॉलेज अच्छी जो कि गोटे डिपार्टमेंट रे दीटा सब्जेक्ट अच्छी. In many universities in the world too, it was only by the early 20th century that the distinction became more visible. 20th century रे distinction देखा गला with the establishment of respective academic discipline. Academic discipline ne dita subject ko alga kariba pai ki distinction asila. So the relationship has been growing even more in the contemporary times, that it is becoming more difficult to distinguish between the two despite the maintenance of discipline barriers. Discipline based barriers. The relationship of the two subjects is also due to the necessity of cross use of concepts as well as the and also the identical theoretical and research problems and their findings. तो एतिकी सिमिलारिटीज पिले हमें जानिला परे दीटा सब्जेक्ट जेतेबेले हमें देखुछु क्लोजली केवल तार माने कोन एप्लीकेशन को छाडी देले तार कांसेप्ट वाइज स्कोप वाइज मेथड वाइज दीटा सब्जेक्ट क्वाइट सिमिलर. सो खाली एप्लीकेशन लेवल ले दीटा सब्जेक्ट रो कोन डिफरेंसेस अछि ताको हमें एबे देखिबा. जेतेबेले हमें पिले रिलेशनशिप कथा पढिबा वी विल नॉट ओनली मेंशन द सिमिलरिटीज. हमें खाली सिमिलरिटीज दीटा सब्जेक्ट रे देखि देले हबनी. वी हैव टू फाइंड आउट द डिफरेंसेस इन बिटवीन द टू सब्जेक्ट्स. दैट मींस हमें जेतेबेले सिमिलरिटीज आउ डिफरेंसेस माने वन साइड माने जदी कहबा हमें बोथ साइड्स ऑफ ए सिंगल कॉइन, गोटे कॉइन रो दीटा पार्श्व भड़ी जदी हम देखिबा गोटे पटरे हमें सिमिलरिटीज देखौछु and opposite section में differences को भी find out करिबा. So let us have a look on differences of these subjects. So differences रे प्रथम हमें देखिबा the first and foremost differences lies in the definition of the scope of subjects itself. Sociology is the study of society, whereas anthropology is the study of man or and everything that concerns man, including physical and socio-cultural aspects. बुझी पारुछो? Sociology टा प्रथम difference रे हमें कौन देखुछु? Sociology is concerned with the study of society, किंतु anthropology is concerned with the study of man, generally concerns including the physical and socio-cultural aspects को study of करिबा. So this is the major distinction first हमें देखिलु. Second one, the distinction between sociology and socio-cultural anthropology is however much limited. यदि एटा बहुत limited अछि. Or notable differences between sociology and anthropology can be traced through historical roots. Anthropology is generally considered to have no roots in philosophy. Philosophy रो एटार किछि roots नाही anthropology रो बोली कहा जाउची, जोटा कि sociology रो philosophy रो roots अछि बोली हमें जानुछु. So while the emergence of sociology can be mainly attributed to the attempt to bring about social order in the society, generally in the European social context to dekhile, to bring about social order in the society is the main concern of sociology. After the great social transformation brought about by Industrial Revolution and French Revolution, its influence on the emergence of anthropology was not as direct as with sociology or other social sciences. Rather, it was an indirect influence through the openings of intellectual and geographical spaces to enable the European scholars to go outside and to study in pre-literate societies. So the original focus of the areas of interest between sociology and anthropology has been one of the major factors. Sociology began with the focal interest with the study of society as a generalizing science, and it focuses on the study of industrialized societies. Sociology is focused on the industrialized societies, and anthropology is generally focused on the simple, small scale, and pre-literate societies. So the other distinction between sociology and sociocultural anthropology can be located in its methodology, particularly methods and techniques of research. Sociology largely employ quantitative methods. Sociology का अधिक quantitative methods like questionnaires to collect the data, subsequent analysis of the data with the help of statistical techniques. But anthropology began as a field-based science. Anthropology was a field-based science. Anthropologists largely use qualitative methods. So, एठी गोटे distinction आमे methodology रू देखिलु जे sociology काहाकु नउची quantitative methods of study और anthropology focused on the qualitative methods of study. So, this is the methodological distinction. The distinction of sociology and anthropology was also due to the historic development of the early exponents of the disciplines, particularly in the way they conducted their framework. So, एठी हमें differences in the nature of sociology and social anthropology till the mid 20th century and even later can be summed up from the statement of Webel. Webel कर भी किछि ताकर statement देइछन्ति से जोटा कि तमर study material अछि, you can go through with that. The relationship between sociology and social anthropology has not been the same in different countries and contexts. आमे जो भले relationship Indian society रे देखिबा सेही भलिया relationship other countries रे न थाई पारे in between sociology and social anthropology. So the perception and consideration of what is sociology and what is social anthropology, it takes regional variations. So regional variations भी हमें देखिबा पाई पाइबा. There is also a general conception in Britain who makes a simple distinction between themselves and their natives. When they studied themselves, they were sociologists. When they studied the natives, they become social anthropologists. तो तांकर एटा गोटे हमें भी डिफरेंस ताको भी देखि नै परिबा. तापरे होची in the context of third world countries, particularly India, the relationship of sociology and social anthropology is rather ambiguous. When sociology is introduced in India, sometimes in the 1920s, sociology had already established its legitimacy. Sociology had already established its legitimacy for research. It had found a place for itself in some. And in fact, the distinction between sociology and social anthropology that we find in the Indian university system was not devised by Indian scholars themselves, but was acquired from the West. आमे खाली इंडियन स्कॉलर्स मानकर ओपिनियन को बेठी पढु. सो वेस्ट भी तांकर ओपिनियन सुडा निया जायछि. Almost all Indians, whether sociologists or social anthropologists, study one or other sectors of Indian society, which is on the whole neither too primitive nor too advanced. When an Indian studies a tribal village, he is an anthropologist. जेतरा गोटे Indian tribal village को study of करूची ताको कह जाउची he is an anthropologist. And when he studies a non-tribal village, he is generally considered as a sociologist. So एटा भी गोटे difference हमें देखि परिबा. So when he studies a village, tribal or non-tribal, he is an anthropologist. But when he studies a town or city, he is a sociologist. Therefore, according to Andre Betle, he is of the view that the distinction between tribal and non-tribal, so village, and between village and town in India is of totally different kind from the distinction between city and reservation in the United States, or between metropolitan countries and colony in the British Empire. So this is a very simple ଆମେ ଯୋଉ ଏଠି ଆମେ find out କରୁଛୁ relationship ରୁ ଦେଖ ପିଲେ the relationship of sociology with social anthropology is very close. ଆମେ ଯଦି summary ଟା ଦେଖିବା ଦିଟା ଯାକ ବହୁତ close ଆମେ ଦେଖିଲୁ the two disciplines are very close, that is difficult to differentiate, particularly its scope, interest areas, theories, methodology and practice ସବୁଥିରେ ଦିଟା ଯାକ ଜିନିଷ ଏତେ close है, difference find out କରିବାଟା it's quite difficult. So the tradition of sociology and sociologists also had much convergence in its methodology. This is due to the fact that both sociology and social anthropology study human society and largely share their theoretical problems and interests. This is also the reason why social anthropology is considered by many scholars to be a part of sociology or a branch of sociology. Despite its similarities, there are also certain differences between the two subjects, which can be located from the early developmental phase to the latter phases as well in terms of areas and thrust of inquiry. So एथिरे भी हमें differences देखिबा पई पाउछु. Another important aspect जदि हमें कहबा needs or consideration of these subjects, the reality is that Western sociologists, particularly in America and Britain, largely consider sociologists as social and cultural anthropologists when the research studies certain or pertain to tribal or and rural areas and colonial countries at large. So they would consider sociologists as sociologists when the same sociologists study urban and or advanced societies. तामाने रूरल कम्युनिटी अर्बन कम्युनिटी स्टडी ऑफ दीटार आमे डिफरेंसेस करि दोछु जदी प्रिमिटिव को के स्टडी ऑफ करूची ही इज कंसीडर्ड एज अ कोन आमे तांको कोन कहूछु प्रिमिटिव स्टडी ऑफ कले दे आर कंसीडर्ड एज द एंथ्रोपोलॉजिस्ट और जदी अर्बन को स्टडी ऑफ करूचंती दे आर कंसीडर्ड एज द मेट्रो कंट्रीज को मेट्रो सोसाइटीज को स्टडी ऑफ करूचंती दे आर कंसीडर्ड एज द सोशियोलॉजिस्ट. So this is all about your differences or distinction in between the two subjects. Let us have a look. एटा होची तमरे यूनिट 3 रो सोशियोलॉजी और सोशल एंथ्रोपोलॉजी रो रिलेशनशिप हमें डिस्कस कलो. Then move to your next unit, unit 4, which is concerned of relationship of sociology with with psychology. रिलेशनशिप आमे एटी फाइंड आउट करबा सोशियोलॉजी रो साइकोलॉजी सहित रिलेशनशिप. अच्छा प्ले सो यू ऑल हैव लिटिल बिट नॉलेज अबाउट व्हाट इज सोशियोलॉजी. तमो समस्त को किछि ना किछि आईडिया आसे गलानी जे सोशियोलॉजी काहा को स्टडी ऑफ करूची. And I know that some of you also have idea related what is psychology. Psychology kaha ko कह जाय भी समस्त को पाखरे किछि ना किछि नॉलेज आ विषय थिबो. सो आमे एठी ए जो जेमति कि आमे सोशियोलॉजी और एंथ्रोपोलॉजी रो डिस्कस कलु. फर्स्ट आमे डिफाइन करबा व्हाट इज सोशियोलॉजी एंड व्हाट इज साइकोलॉजी. Then we will explain the major concerns of sociology and psychology, what are the major areas or major concerns. Then we will focus the relationship between sociology and psychology. तापर हम relationship को focus करिबा. We will also explain how the concepts of sociology and psychology, when applied together, gave birth to a new discipline which is called as social psychology. जते बेले sociology और psychology दीटा मिसी की apply करूची together, एकाठी किछि करूची, से concept टा गोटे नुवा subject बा गोटे नुवा discipline आसुची हम पाखकु, which is known as social psychology. To understand the impact of society on individual relationship, এটা কোন পাই দরকার না, to study the impact of society on individual relationship. And we will also focus the historical development of social psychology, and also we will focus the concepts and method of sociology used in social psychology. concept टा कोन social psychology रो methods टा कोन यूज कराय छी ताकू भी हम एठे फोकस करिया. So have a look on introduction part. In the introduction part, we will discuss first हमें जानी छु among all the living beings, जते living being अछि माने nature रे जते living being अछंती समस्त को भितर human beings have only the ability to think and interact with the environment. केवल मनीष पाखरे ही से एबिलिटी टा अछि टू थिंक भाबिबा एंड इंटरेक्शन जो जिनसटा रिलेशन जो जिनसटा दैट इज only have the sorry only have the ability of the human being केवल एटा काहार ability human being रो ही ability. So as human society has developed, systematic attempts have been made by scholars to understand and document social and cultural activities of human in different contexts across time and space. So this quest to understand the human nature and relationship, which gave birth to academic disciplines such as sociology and history, which form the core of social science. These are the core of social science. अच्छा जेतेबेले हमकु मनीषर नेचर विषय जानिबा पई इच्छा हला, मनीषर रिलेशनशिप विषय जानिबा पई इच्छा हला, मनीषर बिहेवियरल एस्पेक्ट को फोकस करिबा पई इच्छा हला. As an academic discipline, we developed these subjects relatively known as sociology, psychology, as well as history. So, एठी question आसुची, the question arises, is there any interrelation between sociology and psychology? Psychology और sociology भितर किछि interrelationship अछि कि? Whether the theoretical premises of these disciplines could be integrated to develop a better understanding of the socio-psychological phenomena. So by studying this unit, we will able to understand the nature of sociology as well as psychology, and also the subject matter of social psychology. आमे धीरे धीरे ये जो यूनिट टा पढ़िबा आमे जानिबा दीटा भीतर इंटर रिलेशनशिप कोन अछि, and also how they developed social psychology ta kemte develop hela. So first of all, have an idea on what is sociology, what is the definition of sociology. So the sociology was invented by Auguste Comte, who is called the father of sociology. Sociology is concerned with the study of human relationship and society. It is believed that relationships develop when individuals come in close contact with others. And interaction takes place between them. अच्छा आमे जो मु जो तुमको कहूची जे सोशियोलॉजी टा ह्यूमन रिलेशनशिप को स्टडी अप करूचे. देन से ह्यूमन रिलेशनशिप केते बेले स्टार्ट होची ना जेते बेले मनुष्यर इंटरेक्शन प्रोसेस स्टार्ट करूची. इंटरेक्शन मु जेतेले कहा से तम से तबे इंटरेक्शन करूची माने there is an interrelationship in between you and me, हाँ कि नहीं? So in the similar way, when the process of interaction takes place, then there is create a relationship. This leads to the formation of social groups. सेतेबेले हमें कहार आवश्यकता करू? Social groups, and complex relationships among these groups develop as a result of constant interaction. Hence, it can be said that social self and individual self are two parts of the same coin. बुझी पारुछो? दीटा कॉइन रो दीटा पार्ट भली सोशल सेल्फ गोटे अछि पार्ट रे आ गोटे होछि इंडिविजुअल सेल्फ. So given these scholars have attempted to define and explain the subject matter of sociology. So one of the founding fathers of sociology, Auguste Comte, divided the subject matter of sociology into the study of social statistics and social dynamics. What is subject matter of sociology, or we can say the scope of sociology? Scope or subject matter कहले हमें कौन बुझुछु ना boundaries or areas of study. आमे जेतेबेले प्रत्येक घरर गोटे बाउंड्रीज रहिछि, प्रत्येक सब्जेक्ट रो भी सेमति गोटे बाउंड्रीज अछि. आमे वी आर इंक्लूडेड एज अ सोशल साइंस सब्जेक्ट और वी आर इंक्लूडेड एज अ ह्यूमैनिटीज सब्जेक्ट. जदि आमे ह्यूमैनिटीज सब्जेक्ट भितरे बा सोशल साइंस सब्जेक्ट भितरे आमे निजको नउछु ताहेले तार किछि कंसर्न्ड एरिया रे कोन स्टडी अप करा जिवो तार भी किछि एनालिसिस रहिबा दरकार. So it is subject matter of sociology is the study of, according to Auguste Comte, subject matter of sociology is the study of social statistics and social dynamics. दीटा जिनस को subject matter रे focus करूची. गोटे होची social statistics, another one is social dynamics. Then here the question comes, what is static and what is dynamic? Now the static was concerned with the study of how the parts of the society interrelate. Static ame kohuchu ketebele na tomoro societal parts uda kemiti interrelate heiki rahichi. Societal parts se bi tome कहबो what is societal parts, ଯେମିତି individual ର parts ଅଛି ତମର ଆଖି ନାକ କାନ ଯେମିତି ଥିଲେ these are the parts of a organism, but individual ର ସେଟା ହେଲା parts. ସେମିତି societal parts କଣ na educational institutions, religious institutions, political institutions, these are the different parts, societal parts. ଯେତେବେଳେ ସେ societal parts ଭିତରେ interrelate ହଉଛି, how the parts of the societies are interrelate, କେମିତି ସେ parts ଗୁଡା interrelate ହେଇକି ରହିଛି, that is the concern of study of what? Social static. Then what is social dynamic? Just the opposite. So the dynamic was to focus on the whole societies as the unit of analysis. जे खाली part को study करिबाटा हमें static कहला बेले whole societies को as the unit of analysis जेते बेले हमें कहूचु, and to show how they developed and changed through time. को हिसाब रे चेंज आसुची ता भितरे, को हिसाब रे डेवलपमेंट होउची से पार्ट्स भितरे, इंटररिलेशन इंटररिलेटेड पार्ट्स भितरे, that is denoted as the social dynamics. So according to Emile Durkheim, sociology is the study of social facts. Durkheim एठी गोटे कथा कहितले जे sociology होची study of social facts. How sociology is a study of social facts? Now, sociology can be defined as the scientific study of human life, social relations, social groups, and every aspect of society as a whole. It is जेमति तमको starting रो कहले एटा गोटिया aspect को focus करूनी. Every aspect of society as a whole is the concern of study of society. Sorry, sociology. The scope of sociology is very wide, ranging from the analysis of the everyday interaction between individuals on the street to the investigation and comparison of societies across the globe. So this is the concern of the definition. These are the little bit idea of what is sociology. Then coming to what is psychology. Now the term psychology is derived from two Greek words. Dita Greek word psychology word asichi. First hoji psyche. Psyche means soul or breath. Soul or breath, and logos means knowledge or study. Psyche means जो soul or breath, और logos means knowledge or study. So इथे हमें कौन कहूचु ना psychology developed as an independent academic discipline in the 1879. So psychology कहाँ को study up करूची ना, it is the study or investigation of something. हमें जो जो जिनसटा कहूचु, it is generally the science of consciousness. Psychology was defined as the science of consciousness. In the simple words, we can define psychology as the systematic study of human behavior and experience. Human behavior और experience रा systematic study करिबा होची कहार काम ना psychology रा काम. So the psychology सेटा study of करूचे. So according to Baron, psychology is the science of behavior and cognitive processes. Psychology emphasizes on the process that occurs inside the individual's mind, such as perception, cognition, emotion, and consequences of the processes on social environment. Psychology internal relation by individual mind ro जो स्टडी ताकू भी एठी करि थाए, जेमति के परसेप्शन कला, कंसेप्शन, कॉग्निशन कोन, इमोशंस कोन, and what are the consequences of these processes on social environment. These are the dealing aspects of the study of psychology. Then let us have a look on sociology and psychology, the possible interlink. Dita bhitarara interlink kon rahichi. Sociology and psychology together form the core of social sciences. Dita science misiki core of social science right from their inception as separate academic discipline. Sociology and psychology have studied different aspects of human life. Human life ro different aspect to study up karuchi. Most of the other species work on instincts in physical environment for their survival, while the survival of humans depends on the learned behavior patterns. So ଏଠି ଆମେ ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ଜିନିଷ ଦେଖୁଛୁ ଯେମିତି କି ବାର୍ଡସ୍ ଯଦି ଆମେ ଗୋଟେ ଏକ୍ସାମ୍ପଲ ନବା ବାର୍ଡସ୍ ହାଭ୍ ଇନଷ୍ଟିଙ୍କ୍ଟ ଟୁ ବିଲ୍ଡ देयर ନେଷ୍ଟ ବାର୍ଡ ର ଗୋଟେ ଇନଷ୍ଟିଙ୍କ୍ଟ ଇଚ୍ଛା ଥାଏ କଣ ତାର ନେଷ୍ଟ ତିଆରି କରିବାର and members of particular species have programmed to build a nest say in a particular style and pattern ଗୋଟେ ନିର୍ଦ୍ଦିଷ୍ଟ ଷ୍ଟାଇଲ ଆଉ ପାଟର୍ନ ରେ ପ୍ରତ୍ୟେକ ମେମ୍ବର ମାନେ ତାଙ୍କର ନେକ୍ସଟ ଇଏ କରିଥାନ୍ତି ଯଦି ଆମେ ମାନେ ଦେଖିବା ଯେ ସେମାନେ କେମିତି ତାଙ୍କ ନିଜ ନେକ୍ସଟ ଟାକୁ କରିବା ପାଇଁ ତାଙ୍କର ଯୋଉ ଇନଷ୍ଟିଙ୍କ୍ଟ ଥାଏ ଅନଲାଇକ୍ ଦିସ୍ human mind is also influenced by social culture so ଆମର ମାଇଣ୍ଡ ଟା ବି କାହା ଦ୍ୱାରା ଇନଫ୍ଲୁଏନ୍ସ ହଉଛି social culture customs norms and values ଆମେ society ର culture pattern norms values ଆଉ custom ଦ୍ୱାରା ବି ପ୍ରଭାବିତ ହଉଛୁ it through socialization that humans learn specific behavior pattern socialization pattern ରେ ପ୍ରଥମେ प्रत्येक human being learn the specific behavior pattern ଆମେ socialization process रे we learn how to behave with the society how to control how to build up our personality our personality को केमती build up करिबा all these things we learn from the process of socialization so human process the information provided by the social context to make sense of their living conditions sociology's basic unit of analysis is the social system sociology ର basic unit of analysis कौन रहुची the social system such as family social groups cultures these are the system of analysis so the main subject matter of psychology कौन ना to study the human mind to analyze attitudes behavior emotions perceptions and values which leads to the formation of individual personality living in the social environment while sociology deals with the study of social environment social collectivities which include family communities and other social institutions psychology deals with the individual sociology ଯେତେବେଳେ deal କରୁଛି social environment ସହିତ social collectivities ସହିତ ଯେମିତି family ହେଲା communities ହେଲା ଆକୁ deal କରୁଛି in the similar way psychology deals with the individual for instance while studying group dynamism sociologists and psychologists initially share common interest various types of groups prathama common interest dita nihati rahibo jane human man upar study kala bele au jane tar interaction interrelationship study up karuchi so undoubtedly dita subject nihati bhavare interrelated thibo tar kiछि mane study up karibara ame thi decision making status hierarchies ये सब जिनस को interrelation interaction group norms values एगुडा सब हमें without human being without study of human beings हमें ताकू एका justify करि परिबा नाही so this initial similarity of interest takes on different focus both the disciplines use different theoretical positions to explain the group phenomena जदियो दीटा जानकर theoretical positions different किंतु डिफरेंट फेनोमेना ग्रुप फेनोमेना को से माने डिफरेंट थियोरेटिकल अजम्पशन रे स्टडी अप करिछन सो हैव अ लुक ऑन सोशल साइकोलॉजी हिस्टोरिकल डेवलपमेंट हमें तो सोशियोलॉजी रो हिस्टोरिकल डेवलपमेंट की चीज माने पढिलु हिस्ट्री पढिलु एबे देखिबा सोशल साइकोलॉजी रो हिस्टोरिकल डेवलपमेंट कोन and the quest to study human behavior on scientific principles started with the emergence and establishment of natural sciences during the 19th century. Comte Auguste Comte, the father of sociology, thought that society could be studied using the scientific methods of natural sciences. Society, natural science रा scientific method to use करके society could be studied. Comte argued careful observation of the entities that are known directly to experience could be used to explain the relationship between the observed phenomenon. By understanding the causal relationship between various events, it is possible to predict future events. So, आमे जेतेबेले दीटा कॉज एंड इफेक्ट रिलेशनशिप जानी परिबा सेते बेले इट्स वेरी प्रेडिक्ट करबाटा इजियर हबो फ्यूचर इवेंट को हमको जानिबा को इट विल बी वेरी इजियर. So he also held the belief that once the rules governing the social life are identified, the social scientist can work towards the betterment of the society. This quest to produce knowledge about society and place of the individual within it on the basis of evidence and observation is central to the origin of social psychology. The ideas of early and later sociologist, early sociologist कथा जदि नबा आउ later sociology modern sociologist का कथा जदि हमें नबा helped to shape the sociological social psychology. They helped to develop the social psychology. Mead studied, G.H. Mead, George Herbert Mead, who studied the effect of social conditions on our sense of self. So self development of study of करिथिले. Other influence contributions to the development of sociological social psychology include George Simmel, Charles C.H. Cooley. एमाने भी सबु social psychology रो self studies, mind self society तापर भी एमाने सब analysis करिचंदे. C.H. Cooleyଙ୍କର looking glass self आमे पढिबो तमे आगु को जेतरा पढाबो ए सब जिंस डिटेल पढिबो. तापर आसुची इरविन गॉफमैन से भी सोशल साइकोलॉजी रो डेवलपमेंट रे बहुत गुडा तांकर भी कांसेप्ट रही छी. The emergence of modern social psychology could be traced from the 19th century onwards. 19th century onwards रे सब्जेक्ट ता डेवलप करी छी बा emerge हे छी on the first systematic manual of social psychology. Social and ethical interpretation in mental development was published in the New York in 1987 by James Mark Baldwin. Sorry. However, in the year 1908, it was the work of two authors, McDougall and E.A. Ross, that gave social psychology the status of an independent scientific discipline. This year saw the publication of two books on social psychology. The books are An Introduction to Social Psychology, developed by William McDougall, and Social Psychology by E.A. Ross, Edward A. Ross. He was a sociologist. तापर हमें देखिबा what is the definition of social psychology. Social psychology रो definition कोन defined by different scholars, different exponents, different pioneers. सेमानंकर मतरे कोन रहिछि ना social psychology is the discipline that explores in an in-depth manner the various aspects of social interaction. जेते बेले आम पाखरे sociology थिला, we know what is sociology, आम पाखरे psychology थिला. So what is the need of social psychology? Social psychology रो कोन हमें अधिका पढिबा. The social psychology is the discipline which explore in an in-depth manner माने गभीर भाबरे स्टडी करिबा on various aspects of social interaction. सामाजिक interaction को भल भाबरे अनुध्यान करिबा पई we need the social psychology. Then social psychology as the scientific field that also seeks to understand the nature and causes of individual behavior in social situations. आमे individual behavior को study up करिबा पई also we need the help of sociology and psychology. So we need a subject or a separate discipline which is known as social psychology. So social psychology is the systematic study of people's thought. आमे जदि कहिबा it is the systematic study of people's thought, feelings and behavior in the social context. Social context रे people's thought को develop करिबा, systematic analyze करिबा, feelings को analyze करिबा, behavior को analyze करिबा in a social context, not a psychological context. बुझी पारुछ? Feelings, behavior, thoughts एगुड़िक जदि psychological things, but we will analyze these things in a social context. So that's why we need a systematic study of social psychology. So what is the interdisciplinary approach to social psychology? Let us have a look. Interdisciplinary approach. The definition given by Alport suggests that the root of social psychology are embedded in sociology as well as psychology. Dita janko root achi, sociology re bhi achi, और psychology re bhi achi. Scholars such as Cook, Fine, House, Delimiter are of the view that social psychology essentially includes analysis and synthesis of major works in the field of sociology and psychology. Hence, it is an interdisciplinary in nature. आमे जदि कहिबा sociology और psychology both are interdisciplinary in nature. The main subject matter of social psychology, प्रमुख subject matter कौन social psychology रा ना, it is the study of individual in the social context. Individual को study of करिबा मुझे एमती कहली, not a psychological context but a social context. In other words, the mind, self, and society are the subject matter of social psychology. I have already told you that जे आमे एठी को जिंस को फोकस करा जाउची ना, माइंड, सेल्फ और सोसाइटी. अनुध्यान माइंड ऊपर भी फोकस करा जिवो, सेल्फ ऊपर भी फोकस करा जिवो एंड सोसाइटी ऊपर. ए तीनटा जिंस को जते बेले आमे इंटर रिलेटेड करूछु, देन वी हैव वेरी मच कंसर्न, वेरी मच क्लियर आइडिया अबाउट व्हाट इज सोशल साइकोलॉजी. माइंड इट. Then society internal processes अछि गोटे, that is sociology और psychology. middle part हैला social psychology. जते बेले sociology गोटे part रे रहउची, psychology गोटे part रे रहउची, the middle development जो ओटा हमें करूछु, that is known as social psychology. There are many sociological and psychological perspectives used in social psychology to explain and understand the constant influence of human and society on each other. So depending upon the approach, purpose and focus of the study, social psychology could be further divided into sociological social psychology and psychological social psychology. बुझि परछ? So it social psychology develop हला परे तापर हमें ताको further develop करूछु, again two parts रे divide करूछु. गोटे होची sociological social psychology आ गोटे होची psychological social psychology. It is very difficult to make a clear distinctions between the two, but still social psychology tends to draw from both the disciplines of sociology and psychology. So the cognitive social psychology or the social recognition is an approach that investigates how information is processed and stored. केमती information process होची और store होची. According, so information is stored as prototypes, जेमती कि हमें एठी हमें retrieving memory, making judgments, inferences, predictions about oneself and others. In this approach, cognition is seen as social because it originates from the social experience and bears consequences on the interpersonal behavior. Sociological social psychology concentrates on mass psyche and psychology of classes and the elements of group mentality such as customs, moral and traditions. In other words, it focuses on small group dynamics. So let us have a look on scope of social psychology. Scope रे हमें देखिबा impact of one scope रे तीनटा concerns, चारिटा concerns रहउची. प्रथम होची the impact of one individual on another. गोटे व्यक्ति रो आउ गोटे व्यक्ति ऊपर प्रभाव कोन रहउची. आउ गोटे होची सेकंड द इंपैक्ट ऑफ ए ग्रुप ऑन द इंडिविजुअल मेंबर. गोटे ग्रुप रो जते बेले तमे मेंबर अछ से ग्रुप रो इंपैक्ट तम ऊपर कोन पडुची. सेकंड गला. थर्ड वन इज द इंपैक्ट ऑफ individuals on the group in which they participate. जो ग्रुप रे तमे पार्टिसिपेट करिचो, impact of the individual on the group in which they participate. Individual रो impact से ग्रुप ऊपर कोन पकोची. आउ गोटे होची द impact of one group on another. गोटे ग्रुप रो आउ गोटे ग्रुप ऊपर impact को वे रे रहउची. So एठी हमें जनरली दीटा जिंस को देखुछु. गोटे होची जेमति कि हमें एठी को जिंस को फोकस करूछु. इन द लाइफ इंडिविजुअल्स पास थ्रू नंबर ऑफ स्टेजेस. हमें देखुछु प्रत्येक इंडिविजुअल बहुत स्टेज दे कि तांकर प्रत्येक इंडिविजुअल कर स्टेज भी डिफरेंट डिफरेंट रही छी. हां कि नहीं. जो स्टेज रही छी से जो स्टेज ऑफ डेवलपमेंट कोन ना सच ए चाइल्डहुड हमर आउ कोन एडोलसेंस, एडल्ट, ओल्ड एज आउ तापरे डेथ. एगुडा होची दीज आर द स्टेजेस ऑफ ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट. माने हां स्टेजेस ऑफ ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट हमें देखुछु. सेठी आमे जो जिनस एनालिसिस करूछु at present given with the social diversity, social psychologists tend to adopt a multicultural perspective. Social psychologists multicultural perspective को analysis करूचंती, which recognize the potential importance of class, gender, ethnicity, age, sexual orientation, disability, religious beliefs, and other many other social and cultural dimensions. अच्छा, तापरे हमें देखिबा सोशियोलॉजिकल इमेजिनेशन कोन खाली हमें ऑलरेडी डिस्कस करिछु मील कर एवरीडे लाइफ रो सोशियोलॉजिकल इमेजिनेशन कोन. Our day-to-day life is influenced by a variety of factors, which include the family values, other norms, which in turn are shaped by the larger social forces. An important tool to see forces of work in our everyday life is social imagination. Sociological imagination होची everyday life रे हमें जो जिनसटा fill up करूछु देखुछु जेमती कि C.W. Mills defined sociological imagination as for how individuals understand their own and others' past in relation to history and social structure. Mills argued that sociologists must understand the larger cultural, structural, and historical factors that influence individuals before arriving at any conclusion. So, sociological imagination equips social psychologists with the vision essential to think about all the possible social factors and conditions that may influence individual thought process, feeling, and behavior. ଆଉ ତା ଦେହରେ ଆମେ social norms and values ର ବି ରହିଛି. Social norms ହଉଛି କଣ? These are the behavioral guidelines that regulate our behavior. Culture କଣ? It refers to the unique pattern of behavior and beliefs specific to particular society. The components of culture include symbols, language, values, beliefs, norms, material artifacts. These are the where culture is shared. तापरे रोल एंड स्टेटस रही. रोल्स आर द पैटर्न्स ऑफ बिहेवियर दैट वी रिकॉग्नाइज इन ईच अदर दैट आर रिप्रेजेंटेटिव ऑफ ए पर्सन social status. For instance, while reading this text, you play the role of the student. जेतबे तमे बे पढुछो तमे बे गोटे रोल प्ले करूछो as a student. When I am giving lecture, I am also playing a role. So in the similar way, and status कोना? Status is used to describe the responsibilities, benefits, and prestige a person experiences depending upon his or her rank and role in the society. जो role society रे play करूछो सेही बेले status ही justify करा जिवो. Socialization कौन? The socialization is the process through which begins at birth, and it is a continuous process. When a newborn child acquires the social norms, behavior patterns, beliefs, standards, and values deemed significant and appropriate by his social group. So socialization serves many functions for the society. Most important one to maintain the social order. So प्रथम आमे होउची कोन हमको मेंटेन करियो पड़िबो सोशल ऑर्डर. So what are the concepts and method of sociology used in social psychology? These are the जेमति कि मिडिल रेंज थ्योरी गोटे अप्लाई करा जायछि. तमरा मिडिल रेंज थ्योरी रे हमें कोन देखुछु ना, it is principally used in sociology to guide the empirical inquiry. Empirical inquiry को guide करिबा पय मिडिल रेंज थ्योरी रहिछि, which was developed by R.K. Morton in the year 1949. It is the intermediate to general theories of social system, which are too remote from the particular classes of social behavior, organization, and change to account and what is observed to those detailed orderly description. Detailed orderly description we need the middle range theories are used by social psychologists to explain certain phenomena. निर्दिष्ट फेनोमेना को देखेबा पई जेंति कि सोशल साइकोलॉजिकल थ्योरीज सच एज द थ्योरीज ऑफ फ्रस्ट्रेशन, एग्रेशन, चेंज ऑफ एटीट्यूड, कोऑपरेशन, कंपटीशन, एगुडा को देखेबा पई वी नीड द हेल्प ऑफ मिडिल रेंज थ्योरी. आउ गोटे आछि सिंबॉलिक इंटरैक्शनिज्म. सिंबॉलिक इंटरैक्शनिज्म कोन ना, it takes into account the mutual influence of society and self that shapes many social processes. George Herbert Mead is one of the influential figures to develop the symbolic interactionist perspective in the field of sociology. In his work, Mind, Self, and Society from the Standpoint of social behaviorists need argued that meaning is created as a result of interaction with people. गोटे meaning केतेबेले आछि relationship रे जेतेबेले हमें interaction से build up करूछु. It focuses on the details of interpersonal interaction and how that detail is used to make sense of what the others say to do. माने आमर behavior ऊपर others मानकर opinion कोन रहिछि. And we will also very conscious meanings to our action when we have a interaction process with others. So social psychology depends on symbolic interactionist approach which pays attention to the structural relationships, organizational features of social environment, and also generalized expectations of or norms that influence the social behavior. Then social structure and personality kona. Structure and personality perspective is concerned with connections between larger societies, events, conditions, and its influence on individual. More specifically, it means the influence of social structure on individual. Social structure and personality perspective assume that our position in the social structure is dictated by some larger social processes to some degree as we are expected to think. तापरे ग्रुप प्रोसेस रही ग्रुप पर्सपेक्टिव रो हमें केमती फाइंड आउट करबा देखो ए पर्सपेक्टिव हमें सिंबॉलिक इंटरैक्शनिस्ट पर्सपेक्टिव रो कोन देखिलु द व्यूज ऑफ रोल ऑफ इंडिविजुअल इन सोसाइटी रे कोन ना इंडिविजुअल इज एक्टिव पार्टिसिपेंट इन कंस्ट्रक्शन ऑफ सोसाइटी एरिया ऑफ फोकस कोठी रहउची ना मीनिंग एंड मेकिंग प्रोसेस सिंबॉलिक इंटरैक्शनिज्म रा area of focus रहुची meaning and making the process. Then social structure of personality रो कोन रहउची views of role of individual and society. Now the nature of interaction is based on adherence to that role that people play. And area of focus होची it emphasizes process of how larger social structure influence the individual. Next one is group processes. Group processes रे हमें कोन देखुछु ना when individuals form into social groups, certain basic processes regularly emerge in interactions and it has processes that occur in group context. Group context jota. What are the objectives of research in social psychology? Objectives rame rekhuchu observation and description. How gote hochi cause and effect relationship. Next one is proposing a new theory. Jodi kichhi new theory build up kariya padibo. Then last one is application. How that theory is applied. So these are the things of relationship in between sociology and social psychology. Sociology और psychology रा interrelationship हमें जानिलु, relationship तीटा subject रा, anthropology रा जानिलु, then psychology सहित जानिलु. Let us have your unit 5 which have based on relationship of sociology with history. Sociology रा history सहित कौन relationship अछि ताको हमें एठी explain करिवा. This unit explains relationship of sociology with history. Both the disciplines are very much interrelated. I mean, history and sociology interrelated. How? The sociology is often defined the study of society. Notably, no study of society can be accomplished without looking into the history or past. I mean, कौन सी society को study of करी परिबा नहीं without focusing our past. Past को बा history को study करिबा बिना कौन सी society study करा जाई परिबा नहीं. It is immensely important to see how the society has evolved in the past. Past रे केमती society evolved हेतला तार knowledge भी हमको किछि जानिबा दरकार. So to understand any society, any group, any institutions, one needs to appreciate its past to comprehend its present status. It may be noted that emergence of sociology itself has been shaped off in the historical developments such as French and Industrial Revolution. हमें French और Industrial Revolution रो तार development उड़ा देखुचु, as well as the growth of cities and social institutions, growth of individual rights and liberations. Various earlier scholars or founding fathers of sociology such as Ivan Khaldun, Auguste Comte, Herbert Spencer, Max Weber, Emile Durkheim, Karl Marx, etc. gave importance to history. These thinkers are giving importance on history or historical perspective in their analysis of social structure, change and dynamics. So the social structure, change or dynamic analysis they gave much more emphasis on the historical perspective. So history also takes up sociology in order to elaborate and analyze historical phenomena. It essentially looks into social aspects of past human lives. It is primarily in this context that both the disciplines supplement each other in understanding social development. Hence, the subfields such as historical sociology, social history, and cultural history emerged as an outcome of intersection between sociology and history. Sociology and history intersection ने किसी new field develop होची जार ना होची historical sociology, social history as well as cultural history. एबे देखिबा what is the definition of history. हम sociology रो definition जानि सल्लुनी history कहा कुआ जाय तब प्रथमे हमें जानियो पड़िबो. So history is often defined as the study of past. History कहले हमें जानू छु study of past. Historians who study history do study the cause and effect of the past events and circumstances leading to social change and development. So history is embedded into numerous interrelated aspects. Interrelated aspect गुड़िका कौन? Firstly, history as the past or thing happened in the past. कोगुड़ा past रे हिची ताकू हमें जानिबा. Secondary, history as narrative that tells us events happened in the past. को event गुड़ा हिची ताकू भी हमको analysis देख जानू छु हमें. Various thinkers describe history as the study of humans' past based on archaeological evidences. So it is important to understand that this so-called past has its own social, cultural, political, and economic aspects. So historians look types of societies, their structure, culture, civilization, and politics human societies had and developed over a period of time. So history studies all these social domain with respect to their time and space attitudes. Notably, history is important in many aspects. History plays important role in society, similar to as a memory does to an individual. जेमती individual गोटे memory जेमती history भलिया काम करे, in the similar way society रा history भी सही भलिया गोटे memory type रो काम करूची. Secondly, history like memory provides identity and recognition to any individual or groups or a community in the society. It indicates towards one's roots, historicity, and trajectory of developments as it might have happened in the past. Past रे को जिंस होइची ताकू बे जिंस उडा हम पाखरे आमे जानूछु with the help of history. It is primarily because of such crucially important tasks that the role of history becomes critically important and crucial to unpack the social reality. It also then becomes a site where various contestations take place. So let us have a look on relationship of sociology with history. What is the relationship of sociology with history? Sociology and history are interrelated to each other. Sociology studies society and focus on current issues. Sociology कहा को focus करूची? Current issues गुड़ा by looking their historical background. प्रथम हमें historical background को भी check करिए पड़ूची when we focus upon the current issues. Both present and past come closer in such analysis. So sociologists often refer to history to explain social changes, developments, and changing face of society over period of time. Similarly, history also needs social aspects. History भी कौन आवश्यक करूची? Social aspect व sociological concept to explain the past. The boundaries between the two disciplines get blurred and entangled, which do entails a context to explain the complex webs of social reality. So these blurring of boundaries between the two disciplines are seen by many scholars as opportunity for productive research endeavors. So it a productive research endeavors by we can't ignore the past events, past records ताकू हमको analysis करिबा पई पड़िबो. Many sociologists have also advocated this proposition of transaction between the two disciplines so as to enrich the interdisciplinary and knowledge generations. Interdisciplinary और knowledge generations को भी हमें जानी पड़ती. आमे जानिचु social change is a reality and it has to happen. History shows the mirror or truer way to analyze it. History आम पाखरे से गोटे मिरर भलिया काम करे से चेंज आम पाखरे जहा हेइथिला ताको हमकु देखैबा पई. History, in fact, said to be a constant reminder of the fact that change, even though permanent, is irregular and unpredictable. So, history thus provides a frame of reference and contextual tool to examine and analyze change carefully. आमको change को analysis करिबा पई, examine करिबा पई, जानिबारे careful analysis करिबारे साहाय्य के करूची history. Sociology depends on history to understand the past events, movements, and social institutions. Past events or records to हमको जानिबा पाई, we need the help of history. Needless to say that sociology is also concerned with the study of historical developments of society. Sociologists studies ancient or old traditions, culture, growth, and civilization. Also studies groups and institutions through historical analysis and interpretation. History बिना हमें ये सब जिनिस को study up करा जाई परिबो नहीं. So new ideas such as liberty, equality, and nationalism, etc., took the shape with the help of history. So many earlier sociologists were product of such epochal periods and carried forward a tradition of progressive thought. Progressive thought गुड़ा भी हमें history रो केमती develop करा जाई परिबो. We have an idea through the different scholars gave that much of ideas from the history. It is said that the golden age of sociology was in the years from 1946 to 1960s. It was when its scientific focus seemed candid, its future appeared prospective, and intellectual leaders sure of themselves on what to do and how to do. However, with the change of time, societal needs and overall social discourse in the 1960s globalization and the emergence of interconnected world. So modernity became subject of past. Modernity ta gote subject of past. Sociologists in last couple of decades become much concerned with post such as post industrialization, post colonialization, post positivism, post modernity, post structuralism. एगुड़ी को जो सब develop करा जाउची, without the prior knowledge of history it cannot be possible. So various sociologists like Habermas, Michael Foucault, Anthony Giddens, and others have worked and used historical perspective to elaborate the sociological analysis. Let us have a difference between sociology and history. Even though both sociology and history are two different intellectual disciplines in the domain of social science, both the disciplines differ in their methods, approaches, and purposes. ए सबु जानकर हिस्ट्री आ सोशियोलॉजी दीटा जानक डिफरेंट कोन पाई कि ना तार अप्रोच डिफरेंट तार मेथड डिफरेंट आ पर्पस भी डिफरेंट who जेंते कि गोल्डथ्रॉप who studied history in mid 20th century at University College London compares the research approach to both sociology and history. He claims that both sociology and history differ in their orientation towards present and past respectively. So historians emphasize their findings as time, space, localized, whereas sociologists believes their understanding transcends space-time dimension. So it is a major difference between sociology and history in this regard to the nature of data and evidences put to for analysis. Nature of data and evidences jaha rahichi history and sociology ro dita janka different hi rahibo. Sociologists much concerns with the past and primary data, whereas historians are concerned with the sociology much concerns with the present and primary data, and historians are more concerned with the past and look for secondary data. This is a major difference in between the two. For a richer sociological analysis, it is often argued that sociologists should be historically aware. They should be aware of historical settings and limits which would inform their analysis of social issues. So it is said that history interprets whereas natural science explains. Historians collect the concrete and interpret it as a unique phenomena, whereas sociologists work on hypotheses, classify and arrange data in relevant and different categories to explore and formulate the typical proposition. So it is a fact that sociology and history do not speak the same language. The two professions diverge on many counts. Notably, one need not to see only just two different professions, but structures with distinct languages, style of thinking, values shaped by differences in education and training. ए सबुथिरे history and sociology both are different. It is said that sociologists have craved for numbers, historians for dates and words. History बेसी date और word को focus करा जाइए आ सोशियोलॉजी रे बेसी नंबर को फोकस करा होछ काना हम प्रथम रु जानिलु क्वांटिटेटिव एनालिसिस ऑफ डाटा. So sociologists recognize rules and ignore the variations, whereas historians stress on the individual and specific. Furthermore, sociology differs from history in the sense that the sociologists seek generalized uniformities and processes to form typology of concepts which differ from the exact data which sets the proposed in a particular historian. So, history attempts to construct a picture of social past. On the other hand, sociology is said to be abstract or theoretical science of society, which is the scope of sociology in this respect considered broader than the history. Sociology is not only concerned with the social present but with the social past too. Sociology dita janka jinsanku भी concern एठी करूची. Sociology thus covers a wide range of issues, often go with broad purpose and transcend time and space limits to produce generalization grounded in theoretical propositions. तापर हमें देखिबा historical sociology as a sub-discipline. Historical sociology is a branch or sub-discipline of sociology. It emerged as a result of intersection between sociology and history. Both the disciplines have come closer in terms of concepts and theoretical underpinning to delineate the common themes which touch boundaries of the two. आमे जेमते एठी देखिबा जेमते कि it may be noted that the issues of change and growth in family, kinship issues, migration, dowry system एथरे जो change और growth देखा दउची all have past which have influence on their present status. So this past holds important clues to understand the present status of the problem or the issue under consideration. Historical sociology has been interested in how people, communities and societies have been changing over a period of time, how they have transformed themselves to the contemporary modern societies. ए सब जिनस को हिस्टोरियंस अधिक फोकस करूचंती. many earlier sociologists जो माने स्पेंसर हेले, वेबर हेले, डॉर्कहाइम, साइमन as discussed earlier have enormously contributed to this field. For example, Max Weber in his study The City, published way back in 1921, used the historical paradigm and examined the role of city as a carrier of modern capitalistic economy and as a and it is a modern nation state analysis. Weber सेतेबेले भी city analysis रे historical paradigm को examine करिथिले आ तादरु से city ऊपर तांकर book टा publish करिथिले. Besides critical contributions of earlier sociologists in drawing their theoretical propositions on line of history, it is said that Robert Nisbet in America were the pioneers to draw attention towards the relevance of historical perspective. The idea of distinct subfield called historical sociology said to be formed during the 20th century. It primarily developed due to the distinction sociologists started to make between evidences come from direct observation of the past and from the indirect observation of the past. Either directly observe करिबा past को or indirect observation of the past से दीटा जंको जिनस को हमें analysis करिला होची historical sociology रा काम. So historical sociologists actually started to make sense of present in relation to the past. Present को हमें analysis करिबा with the relation with the past relation सहित हमें present को analyze करिबा. Situating causal connection or locating the issue in the context become important not only to understand but also to examine the contemporary developments thoroughly. Contemporary development को भी हमें thoroughly analysis करिबारे भी historical sociology भी काम करछि. So इथे हमें कोई जिंस देखिलु ना historical sociology which essentially goes to history to understand a problem is critically important to the growth of the interdisciplinary scholarship to widen the spectrum of knowledge creation. Historical sociology as a subfield of sociology is likely to make two major contributions, major contributions to the discipline. First contribution hoji kona na it can fruitfully historicize sociological analysis, helping to situate any sociological analysis historically. This will not only add value to the analysis but will ground the sociological analysis contextually by specifying their time and space limits and thus attaching the same with other empirical generalizations. So second approach to it is greatly broaden the historical sociology, will help to draw an important social issues, which is important social issues upare भी एटा focus करूची, जेमते कि which critically required historical analysis को require करूची but somehow can be avoided and remain neglected in sociological analysis. तामाने many sociologists advocate that history should inform sociological analysis or sensibilities of the sociologist not only while studying social evolution, change in culture and civilization or developmental tradition, but even when we are studying stability and everyday life reality. तामाने खाली change को देखेबा बा खाली social evolution को focus करिबा, खाली civilization को focus करिबा, सेटा को historical sociology कहा जीवनी. We should study the stability and everyday life reality which is a part of historical sociology. So एतिके जानिला परे पिले have a glimpse or have a summary of this total unit. In this unit we have examined the meaning and definition of history and its interrelationship with sociology. We also seen how sociology and history are closely interrelated and actually are dependent on each other. Khali interrelated nuhanti, these both subjects are interdependent with each other. History of culture and institutions is helpful in understanding past society. Past society को बुझिबा पाई historical institutions रा बहुत आवश्यकता रहिछि and its activities and development too. Similarly, sociology offers its tools such as social imagination, ideal types, and so on, which helps in understanding and conceptualize past social events. हमें past social events को भी जानिबा पाई कि history भी बहुत आवश्यकता रहिछि for the development of present situation. Or we have also examined how sociology is concerned with present but interested to situate in the context its past. Jadio sociology present को analysis करूची, but sociology have an interest to analyze the past records too. It was noted that both disciplines need each other to make a complete assessment of an issue. गोटे issue रा complete assessment करिबा पाई दीटा जंक सब्जेक्ट रा इक्वल आवश्यकता रहिछि. So sociology need to see past to understand the context and add value to its analysis. sorry context analysis करिबा सहित एटा किछि value भी add करूछि. दीटा जंक कोथरे sociology add values to its analysis. Similarly, history also takes into account socio-cultural aspects while studying historical phenomena. So history भी add करूची socio-cultural aspect गुड़ा को जेते बड़े हमें historical phenomena को study up करूचु. Historian also needs सोशल बैकग्राउंड को भी हिस्टोरियन माने दरकार करूचंती तांकर स्टडी कला भाई and at times sociological concepts as well to write and explain historical phenomena elaborate. Now we have also made an assessment or differences between sociology and history. It is described that sociology is much concerned with present, whereas history with the past. Sociology अधिक कहा पर फोकस करूची प्रेजेंट उपरे आ हिस्ट्री अधिक पास्ट उपरे एटा गोटे मेजर डिफरेंस their approaches and purposes to differ accordingly. Furthermore, it may also be noted that the relationship between the two disciplines is marked by a number of myths and misconceptions too. For instance, sociologists are often considered by historians as professionals whose abstract sensitivity to particular time and places. On the other side, historians are often seen mere collectors of information who are unable to analyze their knowledge with required sophistication and methodological precision. History is said to be more concrete and descriptive, whereas sociology is considered more abstract and theoretical. It I जानिछु हिस्ट्री टा बेसी descriptive ideas को नेकी बेस करे आउ sociology टा theoretical purpose को नेकी अधिक analysis करूछु. That means we also applied here the theoretical methods, world views, approaches in sociological studies. We have also described the different how historical sociology as an outcome of intersection both the disciplines have emerged. It also described that historical sociology as a branch of sociology has critically contributed to the growth of an interdisciplinary scholarship. How it can many sociologists mananकर contributions from the beginning of sociology as a major discipline, such as Karl Marx, Weber, Durkheim, later on the Frank, Blount, which they have discussed, have elaborately contributed in this field. तमाने हमें इथे गोटे जिंस को फाइंड आउट करछु that history and sociology both are closely interrelated and actually are dependent on each other. History of culture and institutions is very helpful when we are understanding the past society. Past society को understand करिबा पई we can't ignore the historical events and its activities and also for our further study and further development. So similarly, sociology offers its tools such as sociological imagination, ideal types, and so on, which help in understanding our past social events. Our past social events को जानिबा पाई कि भी sociologist रे बहुत आए माने methodologies बा tools and techniques apply करा जाई छी like social imagination हैला हमरा ideal types हैला तो ताको हमें एठी हमें analysis करूछु to know the past events. So हमें आउ गोटे जिंस देखुछु sociology is much concerned with the present but interested with the context, but interested if you situate in the its context in the past event को भी हमें analysis करूचे although we are in present study. So it also noted that both disciplines need each other to make a complete assessment of an issue. गोटे issue रो complete assessment करिबा पई हेले we need both the subject. We need the interrelationship of both history and sociology. The sociology needs to see the past to understand the context and add value to its analysis. Similarly, history also takes into account socio-cultural aspects while studying historical phenomena. History also as time, logical concepts as well as historical phenomena is सब जिंस को analysis करिबा we need both subjects which are both associated with we can't ignore the past records, past values, past evidences that माने relationship with sociology and history both the disciplines are very much interrelated. Sociology is often defined as the study of society जैसा जो कि past और present दीटा जंको जिंसो को हम analysis करिबा without the knowledge of our past, without the past records, the evidence, You can't develop a present society. You can't find out a solution for the present society, present problem. Present problem ର solution ଆମେ find out କରିବାଟା it's quite difficult. So what we should do, someone these are important factors which inherit and explain the contextual aspects of social reality. ଆମେ ଏଇଟା ଜାଣିବାକୁ ଯୋଉଟା କିଏ କିଏକୁ ବେଶୀ analysis କରୁଛି that history factors such as time or periodical evolution of societies, period wise କେମିତି society ର evolution ହେଇଛି ତାକୁ ଆମ ପାଖରେ ପହଞ୍ଚଉଛି କି historical facts ବା historical evidence ରୁ ଆମେ ଜାଣୁଛୁ. So it essentially helps a sociologist, ଆମକୁ ଏଟା help କରୁଛି to study society in much more systematic fashion. So it helps sociologists in providing rationale to articulate present status and developmental trajectory of a society. So various sociologists like Comte हुंतु जेमती कि law of three stages से तांकर development of society रा law of three stages से तीनटा theological stage, metaphysical stage, scientific stage हमको तीनटा जांका stage रे केमती societal evolution ହେଇची, development ହେଇची ताको हम पाखरे देखौचंती. And also there are historical sociology who has mentioned emerged as an offshoot such interaction between the two disciplines. So this is an we can say both the history and sociology both are closely associated and interrelated with each other. So this is all about your interrelationship of sociology and so, my dear learners, we have completed our 3 units. Unit 3, relationship between history and anthropology. Unit 4, relationship of sociology and psychology. Unit 5, relationship of sociology with history. Is it clear? If you have any doubts, you can ask the question.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your nice presentation. Students, any question?
No, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much, ma'am, for your,
Thank you.
today for same time. Okay. So, thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
If you know your friends, then tell. They should join. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
ये ये सब लिफ्ट कर दो.